Today, I'm going to talk about when your people don't seem to understand your pain. I've been getting a lot of messages from moms about their loved ones not really understanding how painful this upcoming holiday is because everyone's expecting them to be back to normal. So if that's you, this one is for you. When I lost my twins, they were stillborn at 32 weeks back in November, 26 years ago. So we were pretty fresh still at the Christmas holiday season, and I had two boys. They were 5 and 2, such amazing, fun ages. And while I was really looking forward to whatever I could piece together of myself to get through the holidays for them, it also was very hard. And it also was such a reminder of what wasn't there, what might have been. It was such a heavy season, and you're exhausted and grieving. I remember my husband said to me, focus on the positive. I get what he was trying to say. I know that we did have so much positive. We had two healthy little boys who were going to have such a fun year at Christmas, and we were so thankful for them. We did have positive, but I was not feeling it right then. It was very hurtful, and I felt like his dismissal of my grief was a really hard turning point for the next several months for us because I couldn't understand why he didn't understand why I was going to be so this holiday season. And I want to share that with you because I know the people that love us think that they're being helpful by reminding us about the positive points in our life. There never is a time I wasn't grateful for what I already had, but that didn't mean I wasn't really sad and missing what I thought I was going to have and did not. It really showcased the difference in the way we grieved. He is a medical professional, quickly went into that part of our loss and all the medical reasons why it happened or it might have happened. And I just had no time for that. I just could not understand it at all. Barely 6 weeks later, after our loss, really sent us into tailspin for quite a while. So, what I want to offer to you today is some suggestions on things you can say. I want to give you some words that no one was able to give me during those days that I think would have been so helpful and would have saved a lot of pain. The people that you love the most and who love you the most are also sometimes the most hurtful during the time, especially at the holidays, because they just don't understand why this is still why at this time of year you just can't put that aside and be excited and be happy and be grateful. And it really roots back to our childhood when we are taught to be grateful and thankful for anything that we have. And here we are made to feel like we're being ungrateful. Today, we're going to talk about these strained relationships, some of the hurtful comments that you might come upon, and how to respectfully answer back and protect yourself while you are trying to stay connected to these people that you love throughout this really difficult season. Anyone who's grieving, not just people who are grieving the loss of a baby, but this is a really hard season for a lot of people who are missing someone. Here's a statement that I think is pretty universal and one that a lot of people don't understand, and that's that grief changes you. You are never the same. There is a definite line before and after your loss, and the people around you expect the old version of you, especially when these traditions come up. And they don't understand why you wouldn't want it to be that way too. This is your tradition. This is our family tradition. This is how we do things. The holidays often magnify that tension because they have all of these expectations of you. What they don't know is these expectations are of the old you. You have a whole new perspective on life. You are completely different now. Those expectations might not be the same for you anymore. And people will say hurtful things because they don't know how to deal with your pain. At least you can try again. Everything happens for a reason. Or, like my husband, focus on the positive. They're not helpful at all. They're not malicious. They're really not trying to be hurtful. They're just uncomfortable. They don't know what to say. They want the old us back. So they try to say things like that to bounce us back into who they think we should be or who we were, but it does not work. Their intentions are well, but the impact of their words goes way beyond their intentions. I want to remind you, you're not being too sensitive. You're being human. If those words are hurting you, it's likely because you're human. These are words that are coming from people who don't understand. I just want you to know you're not alone. I have a mom who I worked with whose mother-in-law kept asking her, "When are you going to give us a grandchild?" Completely ignoring the baby who died, the one that they did give her, but because it was not able to join us on this earth, she completely forgot it. Well, she knew what her intentions were. It was hurtful and unkind of the mother-in-law to think that would be an okay thing to say, but she didn't know how to respond. That's a lot of the work I do with clients, teaching you how to have these conversations that are so uncomfortable and hard, but in the end, they are exactly what everyone needs to understand where you are, who you are, how you're processing grief, and how you need them to show up because they don't know. They don't have experience with it, and no one's taught them how to be kind to a grieving person. Another mom I worked with, her partner completely shut down and refused to talk about the baby during family events. The mom I worked with was comfortable with and willing to have conversations and include the baby's name, but her partner wanted nothing to do with it and tried to keep her quiet because it made him so uncomfortable. That was another hard conversation we had to work through so she could explain to her partner that this was a really important piece of her progress is being able to talk about the baby in public places, especially in the comfort of family at the holiday season. So often, no one wants to mention the baby's name. You're told to be strong, and it ends up making you feel really invisible. If you've ever felt like screaming, "My baby mattered," in a room full of people, acting like nothing happened, I get it. So many of us do. So just so you know, you're not alone if those are the things that you're feeling. Here are the steps that I want you to remember as you're going through this holiday season in case or for when someone says something inappropriate to you. First of all, recognize that you cannot control other people's responses. You cannot control their actions. You cannot control the words that come out of their mouth or really anything about them. You can't make them understand anything if they're not willing to try. And overall, their discomfort is not about you. Let them be uncomfortable. It's okay. People will disappoint you. And that is another thing to grieve. A lot of us lose friends during baby loss. I don't know that I've ever spoken to anyone who hasn't. Very often, friendship loss, family loss, there are losses besides your baby when you go through these kinds of things because people show up in a way that is really disappointing. So, to keep some of these relationships, it is worth learning how to communicate with them. So, something you might say to your partner, "I need you to acknowledge our baby, especially during the holidays. When you don't, it makes me feel more alone." What do you think the impact would be to have that kind of conversation with your partner? If it's a family member, your mom, your sister, or your family, addressing your family as a whole, you could say something like, "I know you want me to feel better, but comments like moving on make me feel worse. What I need is for you to say my baby's name and remember them with me." And maybe another thing for some friends might be, I'm not ready to hear about your pregnancy right now. I'm happy for you, but I need a little bit of space. It's okay to set protective boundaries for yourself. You don't owe anyone explanations if you need to leave early. You don't owe anyone an explanation if you just can't come. Or if you do go and they're coming at you with invasive questions, you can decline those too on the spot. It's okay to limit your contact with people who repeatedly hurt you. I always tell my clients to keep your circle small. Right in the beginning, you need a very small circle. And then you expand from there because people will show up in a very different way. And you do get the perspective of seeing people for who they really are. So keep your circle small, make very strategic choices when you expand your circle to just include the people who are going to be supportive of you. Find your people, even if they're not your family right now. Keep that circle. Sometimes strangers understand better than your own family members. Give yourself permission to seek support outside of your inner circle. This is something I do in my communities all the time. Grieve the relationships that have changed. Loss doesn't just take your baby, it sometimes takes friendships and family closeness. Some of these relationships will heal, others might not, and both are really hard. Protect your relationship with your partner. You're both grieving, just very often differently. Create a signal for I need support versus I need space. Schedule time to talk about your baby together in an intentional, safe way. Don't let the holidays become a battleground of unspoken pain. The people who love you may not always know how to show up for you. And that doesn't make your grief less valid or their love less true for you. It just means grief is hard on everyone. You get to decide who earns access to you right now. If you're ready to find your community of people who understand you, join me for my free workshop. It's tonight, and it's not too late to jump in. Even if you are listening to this a little bit too late, go to navigatingbabyloss.com/workshop, and the next date that I've scheduled will be there for you to register. We are going to talk all about relationships, trusting yourself, and creating a support system that actually helps. Come to navigatingbabyloss.com/workshop. I promise it will be just what you need to get through this really difficult holiday season and be with other people who understand your loss. You are not too sensitive. Your baby's life mattered, and so does your grief. I hope to see you at the workshop tonight or at the next one. And until then, I will see you next week. I'm sending you so much love.